against us on every foot. And it's just insane. We're going to take a look at how we ourselves are truly our biggest enemy. Brother Jason has talked about this before, and in Romans, we're going to, if you guys turn with me one more time, it's in Romans chapter 7 and verse 14. And Romans 14, we're going to read Romans chapter 7 and verse 14 through 25. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal and sold under sin. For that which I do not allow, for that which I do, I allow not. But for that what I do, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do. Now, let me read that one more time because it's really confusing. It says, for that which I do, I allow not. But for that what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do. Now, if then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. Now then, it is no more that I do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. For I know that it is in me, that is my flesh, that dwelleth no good for me. For to will is to present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. Now if I do that I would not, it is no more that I do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. It's like a riddle. I find in a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of good of God after the inward man. So it's really confusing. Like you read these and you're like, I would not, that I did not, that I would. What is he saying? It's basically saying like our spirit man, like the man inside of us that wants to be a Christian and wants to serve the Lord. He wants to do good and he does all that he can. And he's just fighting. He's fighting from the inside, but there's so many things warring against us. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of a sound mind. Like there's so many things fighting against us that our spirit man has to fight against our flesh man, because our flesh man was born into sin and shaped into iniquity, and we came into the world speaking lies, and there's so much inside of us that's fighting and it's warring, and it says exactly how we feel, and sometimes we don't understand how to put into words how we feel, and that's kind of what this chapter and these verses are. You really don't even kind of get it at first, but it says, for the good I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. And it describes perfectly what happens in our lives. You know, we want to do good, and we have such a desire to do good in our lives, and we have such a desire to want to fight for the faith, and we have such a desire to want to witness, or we have such a desire to want to read a Bible, and like deep inside of our hearts, like each one of us who really love the Lord have that desire, but it can be so hard at times because the devil is fighting so hard, so that the evil that I would not do, that is what I do. And the good that which I want to do, that I do not. So the desire that it's inside of us that we would want to do is what we don't do. It's super confusing, that's what the mind is. It's so incredible to look at. So we're gonna we'll turn with me one more time into Galatians, a couple of chapters to the right, or right before Ephesians, and it says Galatians chapter 5. In verse 16 it says, for then I say, we walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary, so they're against each other. They're fighting that war. And these are contrary, the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. So they're contrary. They're fighting against each other. Now that's what the devil is doing. It's fighting that war constantly, and the only way to win that is to constantly be in training with this word, and the only way to train with something that we know how to. The only way to train with the word is to read it, but the only way to read it is to give ourselves and understand that we need to dive into this word more. Let's take a look at one more thing. Then I have this quote I want to read for you guys. So this is cool, and it says, the mistaken belief that we pay more attention is actually possible. We may avoid foolish, dangerous behavior such as multitasking, while driving. The problem with the illusion of attention is that it feels like we're paying enough attention, for example, when we're driving and simultaneously texting on the phone. However, when our attention is divided between two tasks, research finds that our performance on both tasks is poorer when compared to the situation when our attention is focused on one task alone. The problem is that we often don't notice this performance deficit until the unexpected error occurs and it is too late. As such, good judgment, grounded in the knowledge of how the mind works, needs to replace our intuitive feeling that we are doing the right thing and making the right decision and in control of the situation. Now, it takes something so simple as texting and driving. So this was probably an article written for texting and driving so people wouldn't do it. But it looks at how just incredible it is when you look at how when you're texting and driving, your mind, we weren't born as people to multitask. Like, that's just not what we're supposed to do. So our mind is divided into two separate attentions, and that's exactly what the devil does to us. He tries to divide our attention from so many different routes. So he'll put a job in your life, or he'll put a friend in your life, or he'll do these certain things in your life, and he'll try to make you multitask on things that you have no capability